Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode 346 at scavengerlife.com.
I'm Jay, and you're Ryan.
Welcome to...
And here we are on a snowy
Super Bowl Sunday.
Yep, I forgot it's Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
I got my snacks. I don't have snacks. I do not watch football. It's okay. We sell on eBay. Okay, Ryan, we have two things to talk about.
Okay.
The good stuff and the bad stuff.
Let's talk about the bad stuff first.
That's the right answer. Always talk about the bad stuff first.
So you can feel better afterwards.
The bad stuff always just feels more real, right? It feels more true. Okay, so if you're a seller on eBay and you're a small guy,
Would you consider us small?
I think so.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're small.
And some people would be like, we have 6,000 items in our store. And people are like, that's huge.
It's
really?
Really not. Yeah.
I mean, and maybe it's just because, like, when we sell, 50 items in a week.
Yeah. You're like...
It's small
that's
potatoes.
Small, yeah.
Small potatoes.
Like, we know some people who are like, I sold 100 things in a week. And a plus, more.
But then also you have to ask, well, how much did they sell things for? So that's a rabbit hole.
Sure,
but anyway,
sure.
For the purposes of my argument here,
okay,
we're small.
Yeah.
So when you have a slew of returns, it can be very painful.
Yep.
And this past week was just one of those weeks, and I don't know why that is. It seems like it comes in waves.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before, where you'll be hit by a wave of neutral and negative feedback.
Right.
Or a wave of returns, or
or a wave of just random complaints with
right.
no cases open. You're just like, what is going on?
And I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's anything to it. Like, I'm not trying to say that eBay's doing something to us.
Yeah.
It's just interesting how that works. And when the week is kind of slow, or at least it feels slow, those returns are especially painful.
And when they're high dollar items.
Right.
One of them was.
Right. So it's this week it seemed like there were like 2 or 3 days where every message we were getting was like a return,
well,
email.
And part of the issue too is like some of the returns were kind of teetering on the edge of like, they said it's our fault, but it's not really, but maybe, and you're like, oh, this is really hard to argue as like not our fault,
Yeah, I mean, they were just, and we have, we go through hassle-free it returns on eBay, which means that if they want to return it and are willing to pay to ship it back and forth because they've just changed their mind, it's automatic.
Yeah, they can just ship it whenever.
But all of these, they actually had to ask us to return it because they were saying we did something wrong.
Every single one.
And that was a problem, is everyone was complaining, like these shoes are old. It's like, well, they're used shoes.
Well, what's up? The one shoes that actually have like a return, because that lady just was like complaining about them.
Sure.
But she didn't open a case. That's like a whole other story. But someone said, these shoes are not this size that's listed on the shoe. I'm like, okay, I'm definitely arguing that when it gets returned. Like, I'm not returning their shipping for that, because that's buyer's remorse for size, clearly.
Right. But anyway, I mean, let's not get into like every single detail.
Blah, blah.
But the point is just, all we can do is just accept.
I just accept it.
Wait till they come, give people back their money. If a case seems like someone's just abusing the system, eBay has an appeal.
For some people,
process.
It's the beta program.
Okay.
So not all people can appeal it unless you call.
For us.
Yeah.
And then, and that's just the way it is. But it is painful when, like, if you have a day where if you make $100 and then if you have $100
or more, you have to return.
Right. It's like,
you're like,
painful. But that's part of the business.
It just is what it is. But look, I look at our feedback and like stuff I've shipped during the week, other high dollar items or whatever. People leave positive feedback. People are happy.
Right. I mean, this is the moment, Ryan, where we could become those people where you just start to rant.
Shut your store down.
Yeah, or you shut your store down, or you rant and rave, or you go to the eBay community forums to go crazy about how everything's against us, and nothing's fair. But
Well,
really, we just have to accept the fact that, I mean, the other thing too is when this happens, we did this during the week, is we looked and we were like, are we doing something wrong?
Right.
Like, have we done something wrong to get all of these? And we go through each case,
one, and we're
just like, this person just happens to see it in a different way.
Well, like, let me just say what the high dollar item one was. We sold a bunch of fabric. I said it was upholstery fabric. It was $135 worth of fabric, which is a lot of money. And she was like, this isn't really upholstery fabric. It's more like for curtains. And I'm like, are you for serious right now? Because I'm just like, this seemed like thick enough fabric. And then we got it back and we were like,
she's right.
You know what? I think she might be right. Like, I think you could reupholster something small, but like an entire chair, it might not work for. So I was like, I'm going to relist it.
Yep.
Just as curtain fabric.
Right. Fair enough.
She's right.
Yep.
That sucks.
Yep.
And you just have to...
We make it's mistakes.
It's a mistake.
Different point of view.
Right. It's like when people email you about fabric in particular or any item of clothing, is this a medium weight or a medium lightweight? And you're like, what? I have no way of distinguishing that.
But for me, the whole key is just to get it done as quick as
rip the Band-Aid off. That's Jay's favorite thing.
Do the return process
like,
as quick as possible
instead of
done. I noticed that you
sometimes
like to the return comes in the mail and it sits on the table.
Look,
and you like to let it sit there, and it's sitting there all day long.
All day.
If you know what has to happen,
I know.
It's gonna happen.
Okay.
We're gonna give them their money back, but you let it.
My days are busy.
Fester.
It's not. That's not true. By the end of the day, the return is done. There's sometimes where
have we ever had a return come back, it sits there and we have to get a message from the buyer who's like, I see you got it back.
I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. God. But
immediately.
I'm pretty good about processing returns. Just sometimes I'm just like, ugh.
Because it's painful, right?
Yeah, I'm just like,
If you're like, maybe if I don't do something.
Look, for that fabric return, what I was avoiding doing, which was like, I needed to open the box, look at the fabric, make sure it was the right fabric she sent back. It was. Feel the weight, be like, okay, like it wasn't just like, yep, done, whatever. So I was procrastinating. But I will say, within a couple hours, I had refunded her.
Yeah.
It wasn't that she messaged me; it was that eBay gave me the "this has been returned" notice.
Right. I mean, like, okay. I'm not saying that she did, but there have been other times where
there have been.
A buyer has been like, the tracking says you got it.
And I'm like, okay. Not a day. I've never waited a day.
5 days ago.
I've never, ever waited.
2 weeks ago.
I will say this. You do have several days to give them their money back once it's been received. But
I understand that. My point is like, it doesn't...
Your point is annoying. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, so the other thing is, it kind of goes hand in hand with this is, for us, in our financial world, in Team Scavenger Life.
Yes.
It's February is our weakest financial month.
Yeah.
And eBay isn't always slow.
Right.
Like, I think last February we had a pretty good February. But
it's not,
February
great.
Is slowish. Especially when you start comparing it to, you come off this high off of the holidays.
The holidays, yeah.
And February is like the first, it's month where it starts getting back to normal. Instead of saying February is a bad month, February is just like more of a normal month.
It's just average.
It's Christmas time is like the abnormal month.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how it normally is. And then that also our rentals are super dead in February.
Right.
February is our slowest month for a rental because like it's cold,
it's snowing
here, so people don't want to come out to our area to rent. So
I mean, we do have renters coming, but it's not like jam packed.
Comparatively, it's our slowest month.
Yeah.
So we just make sure our expenses are as low as our slowest month, and that would be it's February.
Right.
So
that's a good point.
like I'm not sweating it. I mean, we can pay all of our bills, even it's with the money we make in February.
Yeah,
it's
which is the goal.
Right, but we just don't have any extra cash
you're not
do
like,
stuff with, you know.
Like, when do I ever spend extra cash?
Well, no, I mean, to like, you know, these projects we're always
okay. Yeah.
working on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, let's just, like, do the basics and, like,
yeah,
you know, do the things we started that we already paid for and nothing big.
Yeah.
And just sit by the fire and drink cocoa.
Yep. And this part, I know you always make fun of me, but this is just when...
I had to edit.
What?
Last week, I actually edited out this whole, like, argument we had. Because you're like... I'm gonna laugh. Because you're like... You say stuff where you're like... You know, like... When we're not, like, working on projects. I'm like, when aren't we working on projects that we're, like, spending money on? I, like, cut most of that out.
I can have this argument again with you.
I don't want to.
I mean, look, we aren't always working on projects. I mean, do you really think that? Like, we're not always... I guess... It's renovating a house. We're not always buying property.
No. I guess it feels like it when there's, like, miniature, like, project things that feel still big. Like, the laundry room is getting transformed and the deck is getting redone over at the other house. Right. You're like, that's a significant expense. And so, you know, yeah, we're not renovating houses, but you're like... I mean, you do always want to be improving and doing those things. It's just, there's never nothing. Like, there's never just like, we're just working on the base level of work. So, I mean, maybe there is a time when that happens, but it doesn't.
Okay. I guess just the way that you say it, it just sounds like negative. It's a bad thing. Like, you know, you're like, we're always having to do these things. I'm like, no, not really. I mean, no. So that's just my opinion.
I don't want it to sound negative. I just sometimes I feel even within myself where I'm like, you know, I even start to, you know, when we're just doing base level, like, we're doing eBay and the rentals are going and we're doing laundry, like, I get bored. I'm like, what can we, you know?
I mean, is my thing is when you say it the way you say it feels like you're overwhelmed and not wanting to do it, and that should not ever happen. So if you start feeling that way, you need to actually speak that out loud so we can reassess what we're doing.
I mean, this kind of happened to me this week where it's like, you know, we spent like, however much we spent on the deck wood. It's gorgeous. It's gonna last forever. We should do it now. Right. I agree with all those things, but then we go to the bank and we're like, oh, you know, like, did it make sense for us to like spend the money on that other thing that wasn't really necessary? So I get a little bit nervous with stuff like that.
I agree. The deck was not a priority, but we can't do the deck during the spring or summer or fall. No, so we'd have to wait till next a year from now.
No, I agree. I agree with that.
For me, it just made sense just to get it done.
You know, like, I've felt that way with other projects where I'm like, no, we absolutely had to get it done. Right. Like, I mean, we were renovating the river house when we poured that slab, and...
To me, it's like when the right people are active and ready to go, we have to take advantage of that.
No, I agree. I have to remember that. Like, we don't live in a place where you're like, there's all these people, like, you know, Washington, D.C.
I mean, you know, you can hire people from
just costs a lot more.
You pay more and you don't know if you're going to get what you're going to get.
No, I know.
You know, and I think it worked out for us is that, you know, that slab it's ready. So when it's ready to pull the trigger.
We just did it, yeah.
It's ready to go.
Exactly. No, I know. I have to remember that. It just, sometimes it's kind of like, I'm like, was that the wrong?
And plus, I don't think that you play a resource management games, and that's what resource management games are all about. Is that I mean that's part of the game. Is that it's not like there's like a single line and like you just do one thing after another. Yeah. It's like you're juggling multiple things at one time, and you have to judge. Yeah. Where to put your resources, and you have to like balance it. And that to me is what it's. Yeah. I mean, I hear you.
You're very good at it. That's why I always don't make that face.
No, it's. I mean, you know,
you're better at it than most people, and I think that's why you.
I mean, this is my humble face. Like, I guess so.
Yeah, that face to me was. something else means something else. I can't describe it. Annoyed. But I think that's why you excel at, like, managing projects. Like, you're good at just being like, let's think of it this way, and how is this gonna work? I feel like there's so many people that just, like, can't do that, and I feel like I'm maybe one of those people where I'm like, I don't know how to, like, do this stuff.
Yeah, but then, you know, you're good at, like, when things have to get done, you know, you're good at just putting your head down.
Like, I'm really good at doing that.
Making projects happen and all the little things
like,
that I hate
doing the work to, like the actions that need to happen. Like, I feel like I'm really good at, like, when there's stuff in front of me, like, do this, done.
Right.
Like, I'm good at that. It's the, like, high level stuff that I'm like,
yep.
You know. So sometimes with this stuff that we're doing where we're like, we're trying to do this over here and this is happening, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't know the right answer.
Yeah, well, I think that's why we make a good team, you know? And so,
you know, I'm good at, like hands-on, like, stuff's in front of me and I have to fix it, you know?
And I enjoy having the big plans and,
I mean,
and following up with people and keeping people on track, you know, so that's why we're good. That's why I was a producer in television and you were the editor.
The editor, exactly. Yeah. I'm like, you made this thing happen and now I have to, like, put it together and, like, make it into a, like, thing that's delivered.
So I say keep this in the podcast, so I'll leave it to you. Kind people, this is something that normally we would cut out. This was like the edge of an argument, but we talked it through. So
I need to edit some of it out because there's, like, really specific things that I'm talking about, like, within our county. But
okay. So what I was about to get to, something that Ryan always makes fun of me for, but, you know, when we're having slow months and lots of returns and, like, things seem like they aren't going well, I always got to remind us that we have to be grateful for what we do make, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
We still make sales, you know. We got to focus on that or else life would be miserable, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, when you talk to people who are around you in your life who have, like, traditional jobs, like, our eBay helper has a traditional full-time job, and she tells us things. Oh, I had this, like, 2 days worth of 8-hour meetings where nothing actually really happened, and I'm like, that's literally my nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, like, I could not... You know, we went to, like, some community meeting that lasted 3 hours the other day because we're both on, like, community boards and whatever, and we were like, yeah. And I was like literally going crazy. I was like, I can't. I want to be helpful and I want to be a community member and I want to, like, input my voice and what I think should happen. And I was
transform the town.
I was like, I can't say it anymore.
Yeah, like, after every break, like,
I just
10 more people would just split
leave.
and
that's
by
what
the
always
end,
happens.
and we were there till the end.
We were there till the end, but you know what? Like, things like that, honestly, a lot of times they're good for meeting new people because we actually met several new people, young people, and I was like,
but okay, I think anything in planning, even in our own business, you know, I think for us, the way I experience it, things don't always happen right away, you know?
Yes.
You have to start talking and having plans, and you talk it out, and then it may fizzle out, but then a seed of that idea comes, you know, into another time period where it makes sense, and that's just how it works. And you especially when you're working in groups, sometimes it's not the right group of people, but next time it will be the right group of people. And
or as we've seen in certain boards or certain leadership things we've done where it just starts to gradually change, where someone's like, okay, I'm leaving the board or my term is up, and it just, like, one new person comes and that changes everything, and you're like, okay. You know, so yeah, change is slow sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about eBay stuff. So now let's talk about the good stuff. Okay.
Yay.
That was the tough stuff, Ryan.
That wasn't too bad.
So we have this new storage building, which is huge.
It's awesome.
40 by 24 foot. Yesterday.
You're like, what
last
was
week.
it?
Yesterday. We spent all day long, and we got almost all of our inventory into that building. We took everything out of our house. We took everything off of our front porch. We went over to another storage shed we had and got some
More
of that.
stuff out of there.
I still need to
There's some
finish
stuff there,
grabbing that stuff, but for the most part, almost everything's in there. And the great thing is, it doesn't even fill up half the building, with our eBay inventory.
It's awesome.
So we have a lot of room to expand if we want to.
Yeah.
But it's great. We have it's like being in a warehouse. All these nice metal
It's a warehouse.
shelves.
It's so funny.
Ryan might even snap a picture. I don't know.
I will. I will absolutely snap a
Yeah.
picture, because what was funny is I had like a majority of our inventory was on our front porch, because I was so tired of driving to the other house. I was like,
Right.
our front porch is going to be our storage, because I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And plus stuff was late shipping, blah blah blah.
Yep.
So yesterday you pull the truck up, you back the truck up and you're like, bin, and I'm over at the other building and you're like taking the bins out and you're basically like, figure out where you want these bins. And it was great, because I was just like, okay, this is heavy, this is kitchen stuff, I want all the kitchen stuff in the same area, the heavy ones are on the bottom, the light ones are on the top. I'll get this step stool ladder thing so I don't have to take stuff off the top, I just go up there and get stuff. Like, it's so great. I'm super excited.
Yeah, I mean, and we don't have an inventory system yet, like people talk about, where
Not
it's like
yet.
A126B, and it's right
Like, there
here.
are some people on the forum who are like so obsessed with us like getting that
Yeah,
system.
and
I'm like,
I think it's
maybe.
great. Like it's like a grid system.
Yeah,
That's great.
it makes
Right now,
sense.
it's still our own kind of hazy artistic way we do it that works. We always find everything. So, but first, the big thing was just getting everything over there. Okay, something people were really talking about, because eBay sent out this big announcement, and
Yeah.
I don't have a lot to say about it, but we might as well talk about
Yeah,
it.
let's mention it.
That eBay is going to start a new payment system
Right,
called
so
Adyen.
Adyen, it's a Dutch company.
It's what a horrible
Adyen.
Adyen.
I know, it's super weird. But like, so when we got this announcement, I kind of shrugged, because I was like, I thought that was the whole point of them splitting off from PayPal, is that they were allowed to have other payment systems.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so they're doing it. Like, I
Right.
don't, whatever.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess here's what we'll say about it. Like, we're never good with all this big corporate moves, like,
Yeah.
whatever. Obviously, it just seems like eBay is always trying to make more profit.
Of course. They are a publicly
Big
traded
surprise.
company.
Big surprise.
Yeah, the
get
shareholders.
more money for the shareholders. So, by giving the payment system to PayPal, that is now a separate company, they're they're giving up a lot of its profits. So it's assumed that they're taking an interest, a financial interest in this new company. Adyen.
Right, sure.
So it's basically like they're starting a new PayPal,
Right.
And they'll bring it in, and then they'll make more of its money on the transactions, and
Right.
and I think what scares people is like, well, how do you get everyone to buy into it?
Right.
All these people who buy on eBay,
They all have
PayPal.
Every
They
single person
like
has
it.
PayPal.
It's normal. How do you get them to buy into it's this new system?
Yeah.
And I guess that in this system, this Adyen is already used by Etsy
Yeah.
and Uber. So
Well, and how those work generally, like, as I know from using Uber or whatever, you put your credit card in the system and then you just don't think about it. And what happens now, when you buy on eBay, obviously, they're like, sign in to PayPal, and it's this whole separate thing. You can stay signed in, just keep me signed in for forever,
Right.
or whenever I have to sign in again. But they're trying to eliminate that extra step.
of having to go somewhere else. I mean,
Also,
and hopefully for a buyer, it'll be really easy where they
It's
just
just-
log on to eBay.
Yeah.
If it's their first time, they put in a credit card,
Right.
and then they can just buy.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no putting in bank info or making an account. Like, it's part of eBay.
So we're thinking that's part of it.
So, and people are kind of like, they even said, I think that eBay has a contract with PayPal for PayPal to be their main thing till
2020, I think.
Yeah, 2020 or the end of 2019.
Okay.
So I don't think this is happening right away.
No, it's not.
And then they said by 2021, we expect to have transitioned a majority of marketplace customers to the new payments experience. So, like, we still have 3 years before it's like 18, 19, 20. Yeah, so with 3 years before it's fully integrated. It'll be fine, everybody, you know.
I mean, the whole thing is eBay wants to get paid, and they want you to get paid.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get paid.
Right.
Like, that's it.
And honestly, if this is the way eBay thinks they can make more, it's profit. I'd rather have that than have them raise our fees again, you know. So.
Yeah.
Okay, guaranteed delivery. This was something that, you know, eBay started in the last seller update. It was like their big play. I don't know. It seems like it's kind of, I don't know if it's fizzled out, like to me, I can't tell if there's a page that shows if we're in or out, or shows its performance. Like, I can't find that page. And if anyone knows that page, please go on the forum and give me a link to that page that shows that.
And if we are in or out, what's the criteria? You're like, how do I make sure
like how am I doing, you know? Are things getting to the people the way they thought? I mean, I don't even know. The only way I can tell is if I go into our store as a customer
and look,
and I go to our active, and then it says, you know, guaranteed a 3-day. It's got that little thing up top. For us, it says we have 28 items out of 6,000 items.
2,800.
2,800
Yeah.
out of 6,000 are guaranteed in 3 days. I'm like, why aren't the other 3,200 in there? I don't know. I mean...
Yeah, it's just... So, it's one of those things... You messaged me the other day, and you were like, so are we in the guaranteed delivery program? And I literally was just like, I don't know.
So that's what's confusing to me. And again, I might be missing something very obvious. I just don't see any kind of links that are easy to find, like on my dashboard, where it says, you know, this is your guaranteed delivery stats. You know, out of the past month, you shipped 200 items, and
these ones were,
you know, 3 of them didn't get there on time.
Well, it's almost like with the top rated seller like dashboard thing, where you can see like, here are your defects, here are your late shipments, like. I figured it would be like part of that sort of, but it's not. And so, you're like,
if it is, someone please give us a link, and then I will share that with everybody else. Then one other thing with eBay, someone was mentioning on the forums, and can you believe this? The 12 by 10 by 8 boxes are no longer available on the
eBay shipping supplies.
Oh my god, 12 by 10 by 8s.
That's a great size for big weird stuff.
Right. So, you know, because every quarter we get a coupon if you have a store subscription where you can, you know, buy free shipping supplies.
Yeah.
eBay branded.
Right, which I think is great. And I think it's, you know, it's super helpful. I use them every single day, like almost every single package that goes out. And it looks like they only have 4 box sizes now. And everyone was on the forum was like, so are they just not, you know, because it's just the beginning of the quarter now. Right. So maybe they ran out. But someone messaged the shipping supply user, and they were like, they said something really weird where you could read it 2 different ways, where they were like, we no longer have this available right now. And you're like, so do you no longer have it available ever, or just right now?
Right.
So I don't know if that's discontinued or they just ran out, so they had to pull it off the page.
Right, because I guess what eBay does is they've just they have this program, but you're buying from somebody else.
It's probably like some other third party.
It's like a third-party company.
So eBay obviously subsidizes it somehow.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, if I need that size, I'll just go to Walmart and look in their deli section when they're, you know what I mean? Like, I'll just go ask for free boxes from somewhere, which is what we did before.
Right. But eBay has made it easy because we can just order them. We keep them downstairs.
So
and,
great.
You know, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poly mailers, tape, tissue paper.
Tape. Like, the fact that you can get tape for free. It's free, essentially, because you have the coupon. I mean, that's just, like, an amazing... You use tape on almost every single container.
I just will take tape and just like put it around the house, just on the walls.
No! I need that for boxes.
Okay, just one random thing before we talk about our numbers. We bought a Bluetooth, I don't know what you call it. It's like a Bluetooth radio charger transmitter.
That's what it is.
Okay.
That literally is what it is.
Okay. It's like, you stick it in the
cigarette
thing.
Are they cigarette lighters still? Is that what they're called?
Well,
they're basically
that's
just
what
like
it
the
was.
Power.
Yeah. And it's got a Bluetooth, so you can plug your phone in to charge it. But it also has like a transmitter, so I can find a station on a radio that is just fuzz.
It's not
static.
used, yeah.
And I can put it on this little emitter thing. Then I hook it up through Bluetooth to my phone.
Yeah.
And I can play podcasts, which is great.
But the brilliant thing about this that we didn't realize, if you get in the car and you have your phone in your pocket, it will automatically recognize it and just start playing the podcast where you left off.
Right. So that's a magical thing, and it would cost like $20.
I'll link to it because it's great.
Right. And so that way, I subscribe to a bunch of podcasts, like I'm sure a bunch of people do, and that way I can just hop in the car. And I just always have that station on the radio. And
it just starts.
And it just starts to play right away.
Because what I thought we'd have to do is, like, every time you get in the car, repair it, find your podcast app, blah, blah, blah. No, it just... It's
amazing.
It's even better than we thought it would be.
Yeah.
It is really cool.
And plus it's super cheap, so I feel like these electronics are getting better and better for,
And it has, like, a British accent. It says, pairing.
Yeah. Paired.
Looking for pairing.
Paired.
It just sounds like some delicious, pear compote or something.
Okay, let's talk about our numbers. So this week felt really slow, right?
Just like last week.
Right?
However,
It wasn't! No, we did pretty good.
So annoying. I'm like...
So we sold 43 items.
Right.
And we made about $2,300. Because... That's actually,
like I said last week, I'm in shock.
Yeah. Although, we kind of knew that because...
I kind of knew that.
So, there were some days like yesterday we sold like 2 things for like $50, you know?
You're like, what the heck?
It was just like dead. But then there was a couple days where one day we made like $900. Let's say it again. $900.
I was like, what is going on today?
For us, that was a good week. And again, I will say it again for us that it's important that we find these like cool, weird items that we can sell for like $300. That's what saves us, Like,
so crazy.
Like, our business is not like the $20 shirts. It's like, I love
But
these.
sometimes it is. Like, if you, honestly, if you look at some of our numbers in the past, like, 4 or 5 months, there'll be weeks. Like you said, we sold 43 items on the first store. Mm-hmm. There'll be weeks where I sold, like, 70, 80 items, which is, like, crazy for us. I'm like, oh my God.
I guess.
But there's all these, like, low-priced shirts.
I guess it's part of our business too. Like, we don't say no to it. I just don't have the stomach for that business. Like, some people are really into just like, they're just really into it. They're selling like 80 hats in a week for like $15 or something.
And they're just like, that's it.
60 shirts for $10. I'm like, that's great, but I have a hard time doing that, because it's just a lot of work and it makes me more excited. The artist in me, I love. When we find some weird thing, we buy it for $1, $5, $10, a small amount, and then we sell it for like over $300. I'm like, that's exciting,
Because it's like what other sellers have said on the forum, where it's like, okay, so I did have the eye for what this was.
Right.
It was like, I knew it was something special. Right. I knew there was somebody out there that was going to be looking for this. And you're like, I was right.
Yep.
And they were willing to pay me for the work I did to
totally exciting.
Figure it out.
Yep.
So
I saw it from across the room.
Right. Yeah. Basically.
Okay, and then our second store was actually slow. We sold 4 items for $91.
Ooh.
$91.47.
But some of the stuff we sold, I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
Get this
An old stapler. Okay, things we sold. We'll talk about some of the things that excited us. Insane Clown Posse.
Don't. People, like whenever you do that.
Fago.
Fago.
Put some Fago out.
Everybody's like, oh, you know Jay's a secret juggalo. I'm like, if you've ever met Jay in person, you just know there's no way.
Right. Because don't they pour like soft drinks on themselves, right? Is that the thing?
So I read it on Wikipedia because I was like, I have to look this up. Where like, so they're from Detroit and there's like a generic soda called Fago.
Right.
And like at one concert one time, like one of the ICP guys like sprayed soda on the crowd and they like went crazy.
It's so gross.
It's so
I'd be like, it's so sticky. It's like, it's hot. And now I'm like, it's covered in soda. Those people, they're so scary. It's like, anyone, there are people hearing this who don't know what we're talking about.
Just look it up.
And they wear these like crazy clown,
like scary clown,
right?
Not
masks,
like oh, it's a fun clown. It's like a clown that will like hurt you.
Like,
but the weird thing is, they say they're like Christians.
No, that's not really true.
Is that like a joke? I don't understand that part of it.
I don't know. Okay, so I bought. So just to wrap this up, I bought a big box. There were like 30-something hats
or more for $80.
And they were all not new, but they were in really, really good shape.
And they were cool designs. Yeah. Like someone was a collector.
And so we sold one hat for $75. So basically that paid for all of them. The whole lot.
So it's the first one we've sold.
Yeah. And Ryan, who does the its pricing, put really strong prices. I mean, if we were to sell all these hats at the prices we're asking for, we're gonna make like $4,000. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, we also just sold, just totally on the other end of the spectrum, a pair of vintage boat shoes.
Yeah.
Like
preppy.
It's dock shoes, but they were like brand new.
The great thing about these shoes...
And we sold them for $150.
Yeah, to someone in Japan.
Yep.
The great thing about these shoes, they had the actual purchase date handwritten on the box.
Right.
It was like 1973.
It was like it's one of those estate sales where, someone dies... They pull everything out of its closet, and they're just like boxes of new shoes. Like someone bought them
never been
in 1975, put them in their closet,
wrote the date on it,
lived their life, and died.
Never wore them.
And then
this guy had like 3 or 4 pairs, and we bought them all for $5 each.
So strange.
It's like I'll take it. Yep. So
we sold a Newsboy bag for $260. And specifically, it was for a newspaper in Washington, D.C. that is no longer in existence.
What's it called? The Washington Star?
The Washington Star. It got bought out by the Post in the 80s.
In the 90s. I think it was 91 or something.
Okay. Anyway, when we got it for like $10. I was like, wow, this is like, a rare item.
Yeah.
$260.
I priced it very strong. I think it might be the highest like newspaper delivery bag sold on eBay right now, because I was like, it's a major city paper. Yep. It wasn't just a little like local. It was like, this is like someone who worked there is going to be looking for this.
Someone's going to put it on their wall in their like office.
So it was someone in West Virginia that bought it. So I'm assuming they had some kind of connection to
where they're going to write like they're trying to write a novel, Okay, we also sold a pair of glasses, like eye glasses. Yeah. From a Warby Parker.
It's like a hipster brand.
Yep. And we sold them for $175. Yeah, the glasses, frames is what people are buying. They're not buying the lenses. They're buying. I mean, the lenses come in it, but
they have to replace
what we sell are the actual frames.
Now, the reason I price these so high is because it's a high-ish end brand. I mean, they're pretty affordable,
and
but
they're discontinued.
There is a discontinued model,
right?
And I was like, I'm just gonna price them high because someone who's like, that's my favorite frame, and they don't make it anymore, and they're willing to pay, and they bought it. So.
We also sold, and this is what we were talking about before, a huge knife. It's like how long was it? Like 2 feet?
The blade itself, not including the handle, was 19 inches long.
So it's like a sword.
Basically.
And what you use it for is slicing like hams. Like it's a slicing knife.
But I think this was specifically, because that's really long for a ham slicer.
A boar.
I think it's for a pig roast.
It could
I
be.
think it's properly for a pig roast.
And it was vintage.
Look, it was the other Henkel's knife. I had a big, I think I showed a picture of it. I had a big Henkel's knife that was like super, it's carbon steel. It's from the early 1900s. Right. Same with this one. It's the same brand. It's called Twin Works.
Yep.
I sold it for $350.
Yep.
It was from that table, we always joke, that table of...
I know, people are sick of hearing about it, but yeah, they are willing
like,
to stand up.
Do you want to sell me that knife?
Yeah.
No, get away.
Right, we know what we have.
Now you know why.
And then the last thing we'll say we sold, which was exciting, and this is exciting because, we hate...
I hate it.
China. Like
fine China.
It's not the country of China, but like fine China, like porcelain. Because
I don't like it.
Like when you go to auctions, it's like people are just almost giving it away, and we can't help sometimes buying that stuff because you're like, it's so cheap and it can sell. And so we sold a set of vintage teacups for $175, and it keeps us addicted. It keeps coming into our lives.
It's so annoying. And
I don't care about like who uses this stuff. They're so small. It's like one gulp of tea.
I don't know.
It's like are you drinking out of this? I don't understand.
I don't understand it.
But people buy them.
It was a high-end brand. It's Herend, which is like a Hungarian brand. Look it up. There's lots of solds on eBay. A very particular collectors collect that brand.
I want someone to call in that actually drinks out of those a little tiny grandma
Is there
teacups.
anybody out there that collects this stuff? Because I would love to know. I'm just like,
are you using it? Is it more like a decoration on your wall? It would help us understand.
I would love to know the buyer for this.
Yeah.
But the great thing is, I have another pile of China I have to do. I try to buy brands that I've researched because there's, like you said, there's so much China. Like, I'll see stuff and I'm like, this doesn't look like a very high-end brand or collectible or whatever. So I try to just anything I've heard of, because I'm not an expert, but I know Herend, right. I know whatever, like Copeland Spode. We sold some Copeland Spode. There's some very high-end stuff that you're like, okay, there are collectors for this. But most of the stuff is just garbage.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I have to say about it. But 6 cups and saucers for $175. I will not say no to that.
We'll keep buying it.
I will buy that stuff.
As long as stuff sells like that, we'll keep buying it.
Yeah.
Okay, scavenge of the week. We didn't do much scavenging. I did buy some more hats. I like hats.
Freaking hats.
Even though I don't wear a hat, I bought a...
You wear a hat? You wear
like
a trucker hat.
When do I wear hats?
In the summertime.
Sometimes, yeah, that's true.
And I'm staring at your knit cap right now.
I do wear a knit cap to keep my hat.
But you don't wear like a...
I'm not like
fedora.
I guess I don't think of myself as a hat guy. Some guys are like...
They have like 10 hats.
I never see them without a hat.
Like my brother is like one of those people who's like really into like super nice like baseball hats.
Right.
Not like hip hop type thing, but like a fitted like and like super nice Adidas shoes. It's like he has all his like
sure.
It's so funny. Like it's so funny if you know my brother, because he's like a super punk, but he has to have a Boston Red Sox hat because we're from Boston. And it's so funny to me. I'm like, you've never been into sports. And he's like, Boston Red Sox, Adidas shoes. Like, it's so Boston.
Yeah.
But you're not like that at all.
Right.
It's funny.
I had a kid is making fun of the shoes I had on yesterday. He making fun of my shoes.
A 3-year-old. It's a 3-year-old.
Because they had holes in them. Why does he have holes in his shoes?
He's like a hobo. He's a 3-year-old kid who's like, what's wrong with this adult?
He's like, I'm like...
You're like, that's a good question. Yeah. They were a quarter, kid. Shut up.
Yep. Things we learned in the forum. There was a gentleman...
Gewgaws.
Who joined us from Pittsburgh. He said, hey guys, How's it going? And then I'm like, well, what do you sell? He's like, I sell knickknacks and
Tchotchkes and gewgaws.
And gewgaws. I've never heard this word before. There's Gewgaw. It's like one.
Gewgaw.
I guess it's. I've never.
It must be regional.
I've never heard a human being say that word before, but if I check it out on the internet, it says a showy thing, especially one that is a useless or a worthless.
Just like a tchotchke. Like,
right.
To me, like, my mom always said tchotchke when we were little.
It's so interesting. So I've never heard that word before. So if anyone has actually said that in person, like, if that's a normal word, please call in and put it in a sentence, Like, hey, guys, I got some gewgaws at the auction.
But the funny thing is, look, we've been selling on eBay for 10 years. We've had this podcast for however... I've never heard no other sellers.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's like a Pennsylvania thing. Anyway.
Yeah.
And then some people were complaining online, or not complaining, but, they were announcing an issue.
Yes.
That on eBay, their listed items were showing up and they're unsolds.
But their listed items were still active.
Right.
They were like, okay, here's all these sweaters.
And the problem is for these group of people is because they do that thing where they put their items up every 30 days to keep them fresh. Right. So they aren't moldy. My items are moldy.
My stuff is definitely moldy.
So they're fresh that way, and then that confuses things because if your active items are mixed in with your unsolds, then you don't know what to relist.
You're like, what do I relist here?
So people were good. They were helping each other out. Some other people were saying it's a problem. So I hope it got fixed or worked out.
Somebody said, here's a way. The great thing about the forum is that, someone was like...
We're solution-oriented, everybody. So I'm glad people joined the... Be on the team solution.
Yeah, so other people were like, this is how I resolved it. And it seems to be resolving itself, but this is how I worked around it to relist my stuff. So I was like, I was like glazing over it. I was like, I don't even know.
Well, because we're team good till canceled, so we.
So I don't touch
problem.
anything, but
Okay, our coming week. One thing we're doing, one project, doesn't have anything to do with eBay, but we're going to talk about it. This is exciting for us. We're putting a second set of a washer and a dryer.
We did talk about this last week.
Did we?
Because it was my scavenge of the week of the washer dryer.
So we're finalizing that.
So what's happening is we have someone who is like our maintenance guy, and he's super awesome. And he's like, he got it ready where he put the plug in, and we have to poke another hole in the wall to vent the dryer. I got the little clips that like keep it together so the washer dryer doesn't fall off.
It holds onto each other.
So we're installing it on Tuesday.
So real quick, you bought those online on eBay.
Yeah, I'm not happy with them.
What does the tracking say?
They're here.
Oh, they are here.
They got here, yes.
Oh, okay.
So this was the problem, right? So they're just this real custom like steel clip that clips in, and then you screw it into the washer.
Right, and because they're being stacked.
Yeah, they're stacked. It's a stacking kit. But the problem is you have to get it for the specific model or whatever. Like, a lot of models are generic and it's no big deal. The problem was, it came yesterday. It took forever to get here. It took all week. And you need 4 screws to do it. It came with 3 screws.
Right.
I'm like, remember I said that? I was like, this came with 3 screws.
It cost $30.
It cost $30. I'm complaining to that guy. I can find another screw and it'll be fine, like a little machine screw thing. But I'm just like... Really?
Come on, dude.
$30?
Come on, dude.
Yeah, anyway.
Okay, we'll stop talking about that. That's upsetting.
So let's take phone calls. I forgot to mention the phone number last week. The phone number is 540-407-8486.
Before you do that, because I think some people enjoy this, tell us what we're going to cook this week.
Can't we just take the calls? No, I do want to talk about what I cooked.
I'm teeing it all up for you because I know this is exciting.
I do want to know what I do want to tell you what I cooked. There was I was on New York Times, obviously, because I'm always on New York Times, and I was like, I saw this whole magazine section of how to use an Instant Pot, which I already know how to use it, but I was like, oh, it just jogged my memory of stuff we have in the pantry, And I was like, we have a bunch of chickpeas, dried chickpeas. They take forever to cook traditionally. You have to soak them overnight and boil them for hours. And I was like, I bet if I just Googled this, there's some recipes in there. So this is a combination of dried stuff in the pantry and frozen stuff. I had a bunch of like butter chicken curry that was frozen because I made too much of it, and I was like, I'll cook something with it. So I was like, I'm gonna cook the chickpeas. I'm not gonna soak them. I'm not gonna do whatever. So what you do is you cook them. You figure out the measurements. You can look it up online, and you basically pressure cook them on high for an hour. And then I threw the curry in, and I actually had frozen cabbage. I was like, I'm throwing this in with like some onions, and you just like kind of cook it up, and I already had the curry. It was so good.
It was good.
Like, I'm making more now because I was like,
it was delicious. And if you just cook dried chickpeas, are so cheap. I mean, you can buy like bags of it for like $1.
Now we are on like generally a low carb diet, and usually beans are not included in that, but chickpeas aren't that bad. And sometimes I'm just like, I want to eat this. So
so let's take calls from the great people.
From the great voicemail box.
Hello, Jay and Ryan. Thanks for the show, as always. I'm here calling with a cautionary tale for everyone. What happened, I sold a snapback trucker hat to a fellow in Thailand, and through global shipping, went from me to Kentucky to Thailand. Somewhere in between Kentucky and Thailand, the box was damaged and the hat arrived damaged. So the buyer contacted me and said, it's damaged. I said, oh, that sucks. Please contact eBay and start a resolution through global shipping, right? And this morning I got a message saying, hey, I've started a return. Can you refund me? And I said, that's weird. This should go through global shipping. So I called eBay, and the rep said, oh yeah, just issue them a refund, and then global shipping will refund you. Oh boy, that is not true. Do not do that. That rep was wrong. I called back to the resolution center and got someone who is, not a very good rep, and they're like, we're sorry, you weren't supposed to issue a refund. There is nothing we can do. I'm like, so I got off the phone with her because she was not going to budge on there's nothing we can do. I called back to eBay. The next rep said, well, you know what you do is you cancel your payment through PayPal. So I called PayPal and I tried to cancel the refund, but today is the day that they issued all of the 1099s, and so I was on hold with PayPal for half an hour before I just like, okay, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to try to resolve it tomorrow. But here's the lesson for all of you. If you ship something through global shipping and it makes it to Kentucky, you don't do anything from there on out. Always refer your buyer back to eBay. Say, go to eBay, go to eBay, go to eBay. You don't, even if you get a message saying, accept the return or refund the buyer, it doesn't say on there, this is a global shipping. So stop. Don't touch it. Refer them back to eBay. Anyways, hope that saves somebody the headache that I've gone through this morning. Goodbye.
Okay, number one, I love how smart people are. He's a smart guy. He did everything right. He just got bad advice, but he is totally correct. You're not supposed to do anything. Once you send it to Kentucky, you are not responsible because that's why global shipping exists.
Right. So what happens is, so your buyer messages you and you have to refer them back to eBay. Contact eBay directly. And sometimes buyers are like, nope, open return. They open the return, you call eBay, say, close this return, refund my buyer.
Yeah.
If you don't have anchor support or whatever, sometimes the reps will be like, okay, we'll do this within a day. No, you do it now because they won't do it at all.
And I think that's where it's nobody's fault. I think it's more eBay's fault. They don't make it simple. Like, if my buyer complains about something they got through global shipping, I shouldn't just have to say call eBay.
Yeah.
Because that's annoying. Like the buyer's like, I don't have to call eBay.
They're like, I'm in Thailand.
You sold it to me.
Yeah.
You do something. I wish that there was a button where I could push where I would alert eBay, like, do something about this.
Well, also...
So it felt as if I was in control.
Right.
You know?
So, but the other thing, too, that would be great is when a buyer who's global shipping, eBay should see that information. And instead of sending you the, return info with the damage, it automatically goes in.
As soon as they open a return,
I don't even see it.
It goes to global shipping.
And that's what should happen.
And Pitney Bowles, who's in charge of doing all that, they
needs to figure out.
They have insurance, and that's
how it's covered, because they insure it. Yeah.
So, sorry to hear that, but you are exactly right, and everyone hear this.
Yeah.
If you get it to Kentucky, a warehouse, after that, eBay's in charge. Don't give any refunds.
Yeah.
Hi, Jay. Hi, Ryan. This is Sigal from California, and I wanted to say hi and thank you guys very much for all your incredible support and encouragement. I feel like your forum is a island of sanity in this crazy world. You have such an incredible approach, and I want to also acknowledge all the people on the forum that have been so incredibly helpful. They're all very kind and very gracious with their advice and their comments and their time. But I do actually have a question. It's kind of a two-part question. One is, do you do best offer on everything? Because sometimes an item is just, $15. Do you actually do best offer on such an item, or is there a ceiling where you say, okay, everything over such and such, or, everything over $50, then you include best offer, but then, anything under $50, you figure, why bother, because it's just already a lower price item, so why even bother with the offers? And the part B of my question is, I know you've talked about this before, but I'm still trying to wrap my wits around it, is the lowball offers. And what's your attitude regarding lowball offers, and what do you think is the attitude of the buyer when they send a lowball offer? Like, what's the purpose of that? Is it just to piss you off? Is it to see if they can get a good deal? I mean, I just can't get into their head because I don't have the chutzpah to do that. Like, if somebody put an item for $100, I'm not gonna give them an offer for $25. That's just rude, in my opinion. So, I still get my dander up when I get these lowball offers, and it pisses me off. So I'm just wondering how you keep your head on, and what your attitude is, and what do you think is the reason that people do that? I know it's a psychological question, but still. So thank you very much again, and I wish you the best, and I wish you an incredible 2018. Thank you.
It's nice to hear your voice. You're very active on the forum, so that's very good.
Yeah,
and
welcome.
I love hearing people on the voicemail that are on the forum.
They're real people.
Yeah. So, in terms of best offer, yes, I would never do best offer on like super low price items,
like $15
why would
item.
But the other great thing that eBay has implemented in the last year is you can send offers through messages now. So if people are like, I'll give you $11, and you're like, you know what? Fine. Send them an offer for $11. But yeah, I do have a price threshold. It depends on the item.
I mean, look, it's for us, we aren't scientific about it.
I'm not.
But for the most part, it's anything over, it's $50.
But I honestly haven't been following that rule lately.
And that's the other thing I'm going to say. Again, it's not a hard and fast thing for us. It's more about kind of our feelings.
Yeah.
Like, if we feel like we have an item that's worth $200, we put it $200 and let it ride.
Yeah.
Now, and then we'll get into periods where we're like, we just want to sell stuff, and we'll go and bulk edit.
Yeah.
Anything over it's $50, we'll then change the price. So it kind of comes and goes. And the other thing about people that offer $5 on a $100 item, I mean, we don't let it sweat it.
Yeah.
To us, it's kind of fun because it shows there's some action going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about other people, but I mean, we may get at most 3 offers a day. I mean, even on a 6,000 item store, we don't get that as many offers. So
I mean, or someone will send you a message and they'll like, I have a chair up for $1,200. There's definitely a make offer on it. And someone yesterday was like, I'll give you $100, and I was just like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm just like,
it's not a big deal. And
who cares?
And then, like some people say, eBay has a thing where you can automatically accept or
auto decline.
Yeah. So you can say it's make offer. If there's anything under $30, decline it.
Right.
And if it's over $30, accept it.
And if you buy stuff on eBay and you try to make offers, you see that auto decline all the time.
Right. And those are the people that annoy me often, where they'll have like item up for $30. I'll put in 25. Decline. 28, decline. It's like 29, decline.
There's
like
no offer.
It's like 29. A 50 is the auto accept, so it's like a fake make offer.
It's not real. So,
but I squeezed out that 50 cents.
I got 50 cents off. Yeah.
Hello, Jay and Ryan. Oh, well, I'm kind of in a mood because I am Uber / Lyft driver also with the eBay thing that I'm doing. Oh, and by the way, this is Carolyn from Melbourne. Excuse me, I don't even know where I'm from anymore, from Oviedo. But anyway, my Waze navigation in my Uber Lyft thingy now sings, and that's the reason for the singing. But anyway, I wanted to ask, I noticed on some of my listings, there's now a little gray area that says this item has not received any interest in 12 months or 16 months or whatever. Please consider updating it or something of that nature, it says. And I was wondering, do you all know about this? Have you dealt with this? And because I'm thinking some of the things, I wonder if they are saying, okay, take it down, or, what they're actually saying to do to it. And that's one thing I wanted to mention. And I love your podcast. I love all the information. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to be the devil's advocate. The eBay tape with the colors, I love those colors, and I hate that they've changed it all to blue now. The colors kind of represent all nations to me, and I like that. But anyway, thanks again, and keep doing what you're doing, and you guys inspire me. Have a good one. Bye.
So Florida, welcome. And it's interesting. Yeah, it's like this whole thing going on in America where people are starting to just get these gig jobs, like sell on eBay and work for Uber and,
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I guess
that's
it's just
what it is.
You got to do what you got to do.
We sell on eBay and work for Airbnb.
And Ryan said that she would drive for Uber if it was available in our area.
I also would need to get a car that they would accept.
Although they wouldn't accept our junker.
Our 22-year-old car.
They need to start a driving thing where it's just old cars.
I thought of an idea. Okay, so it's called junker with no E.
Right.
And it'll be like a lift in crappy cars.
But it's like I can go in my pickup truck and you have to hop in the back of the truck. But it's real cheap. It's like $1,
It's real cold.
Just hop in the back.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. You asked 2 good things. Number 1, yes, eBay does that thing in your active listings where it will have that highlighted thing that says this item has been up for 16 months, and it's 16 is the
It's not 12,
date.
yeah, it's 16.
And it says, think about redoing this.
Right.
So we actually, at the end of every month, meaning Ryan,
if I feel like it, yeah,
we should go in and we reactivate those.
So I know we always are like, all those people who think their listings need to be fresher and they end them and restart them. The thing is, honestly, if things are older than 12 months, didn't eBay threaten to just end those items eventually, or something like that? So at that point, I was like, okay, if anything is older than 16 months, I'm going to end them, and I'm going to actually sell similar. Not relist, I'm going to sell similar. So they're new listings.
Right.
So if you're getting that warning, I do them 200 at a time because that's what you can see on the unsold pages, and I do that. So I actually do that.
And then the second question you said, or hadn't been a question, but about the tape. I like that very colorful tape.
You can still buy that colorful tape. I'm just saying.
Okay.
There is some packaging that just has the blue eBay logo, but you can still buy the colorful, multicolored tape. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Thomas. Love your show. Love what you're doing. Love your broadcast. I posted something in the forum on Thursday, and it's about everything. All my items went into the unsold section. And I was wondering if that happened to you. So basically, what happened was that all my active listings, even though they were active, went into the unsold section. All my sold items from God knows how long ago went into the unsold section. And all my unsold items from at least 90 days or so went back into the unsold section. So basically what happened was overnight I had well over 4,000 items in my unsold section, and of course immediately contacted eBay, and they told me they had a technical issue and they are working on it. So my question is, did that ever happen to you? In the community pages I saw it happen quite often over the last 5-6 years, and if it happened to you, what did you do, and what did you probably called eBay, and what did eBay tell you to do? Because I got a fake answer for my question on eBay, and it seems like they were reading off a script or something, and I was just wondering what you guys did and if it ever happened to you. But I'm sitting here and looking at my unsold section, and every time I refresh the page, it goes up by 100 or 200. So pretty soon I'm going to hit 5,000 unsold items. So I was wondering what your thoughts are about that, and that's about it. Oh, and for Jay's always, I hear you talking about food trucks and eBay. Just want to tell you that I'm a retired chef. I retired 2 years ago from an executive chef position in Connecticut for a catering company, and I did run my eBay while I was a chef, and I think that's the closest you get to a food truck and eBay. But let me tell you, running a food business or working in a food-related job as a chef and running eBay is a really tough cookie, and it requires...
You got cut off, but...
Yeah. So in my earlier days, I also worked in a kitchen.
Yeah.
Before, working in a kitchen is very tough.
It's exhausting.
So I can imagine, doing like a food truck and eBay would be hard. I guess I was just thinking it would be a cool match because you can kind of set your own hours and
it's flexible, both
that
are
kind
flexible.
of thing. And plus, I find that people that work in restaurants they work very hard, so they would be very good at like doing eBay. But it's cool. So yes. This gentleman is talking about what we had said earlier, where people were complaining. I guess it was... Yeah. It didn't happen to us that I saw, but in our unsolds, I didn't see our active items in there. Right. But I saw other people complain about it, and eBay seemed to be aware of it from what people were telling us. So, if we can think about it, I could even put a link to the forum thread where people were saying how to fix it. Yeah. If Ryan reminds me, I'll send you that link, and we can put it on this podcast so people can click on it and see how to fix it if eBay hasn't done it itself.
Hey, you guys. This is Jane in North Carolina calling with a category question. I'm listing some concert shirts, and I'm trying to figure out if unisex is a black hole in category land or not. I've had some things I felt like fell in a hole in unisex and really weren't getting seen. but in this case, we're talking about just a straight cut concert shirt that really is an adult size. That is unisex. Are people going to be looking for that under men's or in unisex? How do you guys handle that? And then add the layer of vintage and how often you guys use the vintage category versus just the word vintage in your search or in your title, so that it flags that way. Some people seem to think that your stuff doesn't get seen in the vintage category. I don't know if you guys fret about such things or not. But anyway, just wondering how you do that. Thanks for all your help. Take it easy. Bye.
That is a very good question that I struggle with also.
I mean, like with hats.
Hats, shirts. Like, sometimes my eBay helper will just put everything in unisex because she's kind of like, this could be either, and I'm like, now I have to decide. Can it be either? Because I don't... It just depends on the item.
I think of how I search for things. So if I'm buying some pants or something, I will...
Well, pants are very specific.
I'll put men's.
Yeah, sure. But, like, a shirt, like, I'm probably wearing a men's t-shirt right now, so you're like, nah. I also, yes, I have the same problem as you. If something's truly vintage, if I'm like, this is from the 70s and it's a t-shirt and collectors are looking for it,
like
I'm putting
Kenny
that
Rogers.
in vintage. Yeah,
Kenny
Rogers. I'm pretty sure that was in, like, vintage. But, if it's, if it's from the 90s, like, that's just regular t-shirts.
Contemporary.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I have that problem too.
Although, in the title... we'll put vintage often.
Yeah, even if it isn't regular.
Just not in the category.
Yeah, because you're like, it's not like...
Because some people are searching for,
But I do want to say this. A lot of times when I'm searching for stuff to buy, I'm not really looking at the categories. I mean, you can sometimes that is important, but if you're looking for a vintage, let's say Nirvana shirt... Right. You're like, I don't care what category it's in. I want to see where the vintage Nirvana shirts are.
Well, I know, again, I just think of it's myself of when I buy on eBay, I just do a search term. Like, this is what I'm trying to find. Then based on the number of things that pop up, I mean, sometimes there might be only 100 things, so I will go through 100 things. But sometimes it's like 2,800 items. Right. That's when I go to the sidebar and to the categories and start to click.
Now, I guess here's a problem with, like,
used whatever
concert t-shirts, too. Like, if I was looking for true vintage Nirvana, like, I want this from the 90s, whatever, it's like, those could be, some people will be like, this is vintage, this is from the 90s, and some people will be like, I'm just putting it in regular t-shirts. So you're like, and then there are people who put new shirts that have the old prints in vintage. So you're like,
No, I mean, we had that problem like when we're buying things for a rental where we're trying to find actually vintage,
like antiques or
hardware.
Vintage,
and there's so much like faux vintage style made in China, and it's almost impossible to pull that stuff out of the real vintage, and it's what it is. So
as long as they sell.
At the end of the day, just to wrap this up, we do the best we can.
Yeah.
We try and put things into... I don't think it's a black hole if you put it into a unisex category. Right. But if you think it is, then just try to put it into male or female,
Hey guys, love the show. My name is John out in Phoenix. I'm a new seller. Just curious if you guys have ever dealt with shearling fur coats. So it's fur on the inside, leather on the outside. I've got one, and I'm trying to figure out how to get the smell out of it. It's pretty strong, not musty, not sweaty. It has just like a kind of like a wet leather smell, but it's fairly intense. I've tried pretty much every home remedy that I've seen online. Baking soda in a zipped up in a garment bag, in a suitcase. I've used coffee grounds. I even bought some, like, charcoal bag things on Amazon. I left it out in the sun hanging for like a week in the Arizona sun. I have even put it in the freezer to try to kill bacteria. And nothing seems to work. It still has a pretty strong smell to it. I don't know if that's normal. I don't know if this shearling is supposed to smell like that anyway, or what. I'm not really familiar with fur or leather coats. So I don't know if you guys have any experience, if you have any tips on trying to figure out how to get it cleaned, or if I could sell it as it is, because it's normal to be that way, or what? Any ideas? Let me know. Thanks, guys. Great one.
Yes, we love
shearling coats.
So you said that you tried to put it in the sunshine. I'm really surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if the sun and just fresh air doesn't clean that thing, I don't think anything
there's something
will.
wrong with it.
There's something, it's just, I don't know what.
Because that's my ultimate, like, if anything smells moldy or cigarettes.
Right.
I just, honestly, fresh air.
And sunshine,
and
right.
sunshine.
Because that smell is coming from, mold or bacteria. And so the best way to clean that is through the sun.
Yeah.
Unless you just want to take and get it dry clean, which we've never done because the cost of that would be enormous.
Well, and also this is a specialty like suede, so this is not...
So, but you can get that stuff dry cleaned. I mean, like a specialty,
Yes, but it's expensive, yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. I would try and keep doing the outdoor thing. I mean, sometimes some older vintage stuff is just going to have a bit of a smell to it, and people are going to have to be okay with that. But
right.
I don't know if that's the right answer.
I don't know. I mean, I one time had a jacket, like an army jacket that, I mean, somebody owned this and they smoked in it for 30 years. Like, it was
Had like
strong.
tar in it.
Yeah, it was just like, so I honestly, it was in the springtime. I left that jacket out in the rain and the sun for like over a week. Because I was like, I'm going to let it get rained on. I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to let it get rained on. Eventually, after all that, it stopped smelling.
I mean, obviously, he can't do that with the shearling
because it's leather, suede.
Yeah. But I don't know
if
if anyone else has an answer, we'd love to hear it. But I don't know. A week in the sun just seems...
one thing that I know people are like who are super extreme about it is those like ozone.
Yes.
It's like an ozone thing where like.
It's a machine, like if you go on Amazon and it's like ozone cleaner. Yeah. And it's a machine where they use when someone dies in a home. Yeah. They put these things in there because it like, I don't know, I guess it like...
It creates ozone. Like you're not supposed to be in it when
if you're in the room when it's doing its thing, it will kill you.
It will.
Because it like takes out the oxygen or something.
Yeah,
I don't quite understand
like
it.
that.
But people swear by that's the thing that's going to... ultimately be like the best cleaner.
You lock this thing in the bathroom with the ozone
and don't let any animals in there or whatever. No
houseplants. They're like, it'll kill your houseplant.
And you know, if people's basements are flooded and it's smelling musty, that's the same thing
so
too.
That's the only thing
I've looked into it, but we don't have enough pieces of smelly clothing to invest in that kind of thing. But I don't know.
Maybe someone you know has one.
If you're committed, that would be one way to do it.
Okay, that is it for the podcast this week. You can check out the blog at scavengerlife.com to join the conversation and check out the links we discussed. You can call and leave a question or a comment on our voicemail line. Again, that phone number is 540-407-8486. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesday, we post a What Sells video, currently brought to you by Steven Schultz. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube so you always get the latest episode. We are ending this podcast
in 3,
2,